Hello and welcome to a new episode of Connected from Home, where we choose to stay safe yet refuse to be disconnected. We connect with interesting people from all around the world. This episode of Connected from Home is in remembrance of the Quran reciter who gained the reputation to be the golden throat and the voice of heaven. It's the legendary late Sheikh Abdul Basit Abdul Samad, whose death anniversary is on the 30th of November. Our guest today is Sheikh Yasser Abdul Basit Abdul Samad, the son of the late Sheikh Abdul Basit, who's going to share with us a lot of details about his life and journey. Hello, Sheikh Yasser, and thank you for being with us in this episode of Connected from Home.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Thank you for hosting me.
It's certainly our honor and our pleasure. Okay, let's start from the very beginning. Please tell us the story of Sheikh Abdul Basit. Where was he born and when did he start learning Quran?
I don't think I will add something new because everybody knows that he was born in 1st of January 1927 in a village called Maraza. Belongs to city of Armand of Luxor in South Egypt. He finished memorizing the Holy Quran at the age of 10. And he was a unique student. He wasn't like his colleagues. He was different. He had a passion to the Quran, and his teacher have noticed that and was encouraging him to go forward and forward. And he wasn't like anybody else from his colleagues. As we were students, we used to study anything. When we finish, we leave it. But for him, after the lesson, he was still stuck with Quran. He didn't want to leave it.
So when was the first time that he was called in to recite Quran in public?
Well, as a child, at this time, he was reciting with his teacher in private celebrations. And he was famous only in this area locally. But the real start was when he came with his father, my grandfather, to visit Sayyida Zainab, and it was her birth. And my grandfather asked the responsibles to let his son to recite for 10 minutes, as everybody there from the famous reciters at this time were exhausted and the night was long. So they welcomed him to recite just for 10 minutes, not more than 10 minutes. Then when he started to recite, and the people was amazed by his recitation, and they loved it so much. So when he was going to finish, to reach the 10 minutes, the time has been given to him. The people asked him to carry on, and 10 minutes extended to 1 hour and a half. Wow. And this was the real beginning for him. There was someone responsible from the radio listening to him, and he asked him to come to the radio to register himself in the radio. And he said, I was really hesitated too much. Shall I leave my village, my relatives, friends, and come to Cairo? This is something difficult for me. Then he said, I went to the radio, and without being tested, he has been accepted because his recitation in this celebration was recorded by this responsible, and he showed it to the committee, and they accepted him immediately. And this was the change in his life, to come and live in Cairo, and started to recite globally.
Thank God that he did, because right now we are enjoying the legendary voice. All ages, all generations, it's immortal. The legendary Sheikh Abdul Basit was learning Quran since he was a little child. Can I ask, what was his source of inspiration? Who encouraged him?
I imagine his inspiration came from his environment, from the nature, from his teacher, and also from previous reciters who used to recite before him. And he used to say that I used to listen to Sheikh Muhammad Rifat, walking about 5 kilometers to reach the only radio was in the village, which the mayor had. Anybody else didn't have a radio at this time. So all these things he mixed it in his mind, and he created his own style.
I've read before that people started buying radios to listen to Sheikh Abdul Basit. Is that
Exactly.
true?
Yeah, yeah. I think when he joined the radio, I think the the average of selling radios has been grown too much. People wanted to listen to this new voice reciting Quran.
Yes, it's an incredible voice for all generations. I still remember my grandfather, my father, me myself. It's timeless.
And I know I met some people. They said to me that they used to go to Imam Shafi'i Mosque, where my father used to recite, carrying the cassettes on their shoulders, just to listen and record his recitations.
Wow. So how does it feel to be his son? How did it affect your life?
Very good question. Well, I he encouraged us to recite Quran. He was really happy that to have one of his sons or all his sons reciting Quran. So for me and for my other brothers, we used to start the queue of the school with a lecture of Quran early morning. And when we used to have um, a lesson of Quran in the school, the teacher used to choose me to recite it for the others. And I remember he brought to us a special teacher to teach us how to pronounce and to read Quran properly. So I was like all other brothers reciting from early age, and it was inspired. We were all inspired by him himself, and even we go to uh, one of his recitation. We used to come back and imitate what he did, and he was really happy. He was showing um, um, a gratitude to Allah that his sons are following the same footsteps.
So how has he taken that to the global level? How did he become the ambassador of Quran? We're not only talking about the Middle East, we're talking about the whole world. Like the number
Well,
of countries he has visited is
well,
is, is very high considered to the time when he was reciting. People were not traveling that much, not like nowadays.
he used to have a lot of invitations globally. So he was going here and there, east and west, north and south, and with his recitation and his attitude and his sincerity, he got it.
Since we're here in Bahrain, we will start with his visit to Bahrain. He visited Bahrain 3 times. Can you tell us what happened behind the scenes and what information do you have about the visit?
Well, I think first time he went to Bahrain, it was in 1970. But I read information from a book like everybody else because I was at this time maybe 1 year old. Uh, um, I think he was in Mecca doing pilgrimage, and he met there by coincidence Prince uh, Hamad Al Khalifa, and he invited him to come to Bahrain for a week. Then he went to Bahrain after going back to Egypt. From Egypt, he went to Bahrain for a week, and he made some recitations in different mosques. The Friday prayers he was reciting in West Refa, maybe. Uh, Then he got invitation from the king, His Majesty Sheikh Isa Al Khalifa, and this was the first time to go to Bahrain in 1970. But he had two other invitations after this, maybe 1972 or three, and last one in 1975. He did the recording of the Holy Quran in Bahrain, as he did it in Saudi Arabia, he did it in Syria, he did it in Morocco, he did it in Egypt. He sacrificed his life and his voice and his effort just for Quran.
The late Sheikh Abdul Basit, may Allah rest his soul in peace, has visited so many countries. And I know that there are so many remarkable stories and highlights in those visits. So let's divide them continent by continent. So if we start with Asia, what are the highlights?
When we talk about Asia, we have to talk about India, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Indonesia as well. So in Pakistan, he said that they have too much passion for Quran. They have schools to teach Quran everywhere in the country, even underground. He has been there about three times, and one of his visits, he was surprised to find the Prime Minister waiting him in the airport. Oh, this gives impression that these people, they love and respect those who are related to Quran. I think he was reciting in Pachahi Mosque in Lahore, and I've met some people in Pakistan, in England as well. This is to me that we used to go to listen to your father standing on one feet because of the crowd.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And in India, he said, I was surprised to find the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi coming to listen to his recitation without prior notice for him. And he found her coming and sitting on the ground. And one thing touched his heart too much. He said that when I started to recite the Holy Quran, I found everybody's taking his shoes off, standing and bending their head down. And this image has massive impact on him. When we talk about Malaysia, he went to open a mosque called Kuchawa, where about quarter million came to listen to his recitation, and he got a medal of honor from the Prime Minister. Same thing happened in Indonesia as well.
What about Africa?
Africa. When we talk about Africa, we have to start with South Africa, because in 1966 was about kind of apartheid in this country. And he got invitation, but it was dangerous for him to go there at this time. But he said, I'm serving the Holy Quran, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will support me, will save me, will protect me. And he did it. He went there. And as I've heard from people there, because I went to South Africa for a few years, said to me that people carried his car, carried the car he was in. So he didn't imagine that this passion and acceptance Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to him from everyone, everywhere in the world.
Wow.
And he went to South Africa two, three times, 1966, and just few years before he dies, and maybe once again in the middle, I can't remember exactly. And he was rewarded from people there. Also, I remember he went to Senegal. He got a Medal of Honor from the Prime Minister. Nigeria as well. And as I said before, he brought a cassette giving Shahada for people to accept Islam or to enter in Islam. About 70%. Um,
Wow.
uh, Africa, so we have to mention Algeria as well. North Africa. He got private invitation from President Ahmed bin Bella at this time to reopen a mosque has been transferred to a church from French occupation. So
Wow.
this was a victory for the people there.
Okay, let's move to Europe. What are the highlights of his visits to Europe?
Europe, I think he went to England. He resided in Albert Hall in London. Uh,
Wow.
he had a unique visit to France. He resided in Opera in Monte Carlo. Um, but the problem he used to have there, this kind of clothes he used to wear was strange for the people. So he had to wear a vest at this time to integrate in the society.
Yes. And how was it? How were the
Uh,
people's reactions?
so
Very curious.
Well, when he recited in the opera, there was too much silence, and as a Quran recite, everybody wants to know the reaction of the people. Are they welcoming? Are they enjoying what he's doing or not?
Of course,
He did.
especially in Europe, in a different country. Of
He
course.
didn't know that because, especially because the audience wasn't only Muslims from different cultures, from different um, religions.
Religions, the
Yeah,
ethnicities, yes, of course.
exactly. But he said I recited about maybe 1 hour, more or less. And after I finished, I was surprised by a wave of clapping hands of the people for 10 minutes continuously. So yeah, I thank
Wow.
God for this blessing and for this acceptance. Alhamdulillah.
What about Sheikh Abdul Basit's visit to the US?
I think he has been there for 2 3 times. He visited about 14 states, and there is one recording for his recitation in Chicago. It has been watched by about 80 million persons so far.
Wow.
So the Muslims around the world, when they used to hear about him, everybody wanted to invite him to see him reciting life.
I'm very curious about the story of the film that Sheikh Abdul Basit participated in. It's an international film.
This movie called The Message, Al-Risala. And when he has had the offer to raise Adhan in the movie, he asked to read the script of the movie, and it was convenient for him. Then he accepted, and he did it. Uh, uh, and this movie talks about the messenger Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his message to the people. He didn't mind to participate as a Quran reciter just to raise the Adhan.
And he was imitating a very special voice, the voice
Imitate.
of,
Yeah, Bilal bin Rabah.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yes.
because nobody heard the Adhan of Bilal bin Rabah, but he did in his own style.
yes, yes, I know,
But
of course.
he was playing the
The role.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, please give me more details. What was the role that he was playing? And did he have to travel to the UK to record?
Well, he wasn't playing; he just was reading the Adhan.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
normal for him. When he got the invitation from director Mustafa Al-Aqad, he had to go to London to record the Adhan in London, and they put it in the movie. But he didn't have to go to America.
So, out of the visits to so many countries, what was the favorite award? I know that the late Sheikh Abdul Basit received so many awards, and he had a very special treatment that he very well deserved. What was his favorite?
used to love a lot. The Holy Quran has been presented to him from the King of Morocco, Muhammad V. Uh, After the king has been asked him to live in Morocco and bring his family and to live completely in Morocco, and he refused gently because he said, "I can't leave my country, my relatives, my friends, and whenever you want me, I'll be there." So the king, Holy Quran, written by the gold water, and he said, "This is the best present I got in my life."
Wow. Very suitable to the golden voice.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
So this question, maybe we can use some imagination. Did Sheikh Abdul Basit imagine that his voice would be that immortal, that his recitals would last that long and be that unique and special,
No, he said
even after he passes away?
when I was a child or a teenager, and I started to be in the Quran and sacrifice my life for Quran, I raised my hand to the sky and I asked Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to raise my status. And I think Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has accepted his dua, his invocation, his demand.
Yeah, so probably he knows that his
Yeah.
prayer has been answered. You are right now following the footsteps of your father, and you are trying to keep his legacy alive. And this is a surprise and maybe an exclusive announcement for Bahrain International that you are preparing a book in English about the life of the legendary late Sheikh Abdul Basit.
Because people ask us to know more than him, more about him. So Arabic books will not be enough to non-Arabs. So the message of the Holy Quran is not only for Arabs; it's for everyone.
When is it going to be published? We can't wait.
Um, Hopefully during a month time, 1 month,
Okay, that's very soon,
inshallah. Hopefully, inshallah.
inshallah. And it's going to include information about his visits and about everything regarding Sheikh Abdul Basit since he was born, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, his life and his recitations and his visits, and we'll
And
try to
maybe
make,
his message.
yeah, everybody satisfied, inshallah.
So, what was the phrase that the late Sheikh Abdul Basit was always saying about Quran? Maybe this is his lifetime message.
Um, his message, not don't abandon Quran, don't neglect Quran. Be with Quran. Quran will teach you everything. Quran will teach you how to eat and sleep, or how to deal with your parents, friends, relatives. It will show you all matters of life. Quran is a message from Allah to us, and keep it in your heart. And when you recite, recite from your heart, because when you recite from your heart, you will reach the other's hearts.
Yes, definitely. And whenever we listen to this legendary voice, it I don't know, I sometimes you feel like you want to burst into tears, and that it really touches the heart. So yes, it was recited from the heart. Definitely, anyone can feel this.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So, what is your final message to the audience of Bahrain International?
I ask Allah to keep everybody in peace, in good health, and I always ask responsibles to give more care for the Holy Quran and for youngsters as well to be related to Quran, because this will help us in this life and hereafter.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sheikh Yasser, for being with us in this episode of Connected from Home. It's such an honor and it's such a pleasure, really, to talk about the life of the legendary Sheikh Abdul Basit. And we can't wait to see the book and take a look at the pictures and even have more details. This is just a glimpse about the life of the late Sheikh Abdul Basit, and of course, more details will be there in the book.
Thank you for hosting me. It's really my pleasure.
The pleasure is all ours. Hope you enjoyed this episode and got to know more about the late Sheikh Abdul Basit and his golden throat. See you next week with new topics and stories from all around the world.